It's the Redskin Rewind, presented by the Redskin Radio Network.
10:45 left, first quarter, ball at their own 46-yard line. Burton still the running back. Shotgun formation. They hand off to the right, cuts back up middle of the field. He is met by Bo Ragsdale, and also big shout out to Keezy Mitchell. He was the first one that got a hold of him.
Mitchell is yet to be blocked in this game. At that time, they just ran right at him, and he was all over it. But, of course, he was in on the last play as well. But he's players kind of lining up at nose or inside technique there, but definitely a handful.
Defense off the field problem. Shotgun. They'll put a man in motion. They'll hand it up to one of the up backs. Here comes Bo Ragsdale. You're not going to fool him many times. There they did.
That was a good play there.
They bring that safety up. McAlpine in motion. They'll flip it to McAlpine. He cuts up. Far side of the field. McAlpine's got some room. He's got some speed up to the 40, 35, knocked down low. And he is tackled. It's going to be a big run right there. It'll be a pass technically. There's a name that comes to mind, but I don't know if there was anybody in between. Maybe Colton Walker. Maybe Miguel Hurtado was probably the last one. big bruiser.
That was definitely, he would qualify.
Screen, open, McAlpine, touchdown. 8 yards out. Oneonta, the first one of the year. 2:50 left here in the first quarter. And two blockers. And you had McAlpine catching it, and it was 3-on-2. Riley McGill, they put McGill in motion. They'll hand off to David Hall to the left side. There's some blocks. He's up to the 40, up to the 45, up to the 50. 45, 40, up to the 30. He keeps going. He ain't stopping. A huge run from David Hall, the senior. Boy, does he look good running the ball tonight. That's another first down brought to you by Woodman Life.
He did. About 5 yards into that run, he made a cut to the outside and saw something there, and it was downhill from that point.
David so far, 82 yards rushing on 6 attempts. They're going to run that screen back into the middle of the field with McAlpine. Makes a couple guys miss. Back out to the outside. Runs over a guy. He keeps going. Touchdown, Oneonta. Andrew McAlpine. He may weigh 140 soaking wet, but he ran it like he was 200. Oneonta back out in front. 13-7 now. Ball at the 35 as well. They'll mark it. They'll hand off to Burton up the middle. And Bo Ragsdale just introduced himself again. And they pick him up and they put him down for Priceville. Trying to draw him off sides. Quarterback will keep it himself. Jackson Cross. Here comes the senior David Hall. David got back there quickly and was not fooled. Receiver to each side. McAlpine in motion. They'll flip it to McAlpine. David as a blocker. Gets to the edge. He's got some room. Got some speed across the 50 down inside the 30 to the 24-yard line.
That was a heck of a game. Other guys in front of him there.
Yeah.
Dominant.
Yeah. David on the carry, up the middle. Stiff arm, cuts back out to the left side. There's a great block. Inside to the 15, the 10, the 5, the touchdown. 24 yards out, no flags. David Hall's first one of the night. 7 minutes left, man in motion. They'll flip it out over to Burton, and a great tackle by the star of the night, Andrew McAlpine. One of the stars of the night. They're going to lose 4-yard quarterback, the freshman. Jackson back to pass. Here comes the pressure. He got hit hard up into the end zone. Incomplete. 3rd and 12 from the Oneonta 24. Burton in motion. Jackson tosses it over to the other side. David Hall, helmet off, tackles him anyway. David Hall, what a night for that young man. 1:10 left. Brayden back to pass. Brayden looking, takes a deep shot. McAlpine's open deep. Caught it down to the 25-yard line. Andrew McAlpine, what a great night he's had. Brayden right on the money with that throw. Cameron Daly's also out there. They're going to hand off to Nix. Nix this time gets to the edge. One blocker out in front up to the 50, 45, 40. Finally goes out of bounds, and a big run from Austin Nix. His first positive run of the night. Brayden rolls out to his right. Looks, curl route to Connor Faust. Caught up to the 20. Breaks a tackle down to the 15. Breaks another one inside to the 12-yard line. Connor Faust. They'll hand off to Nix. Cuts back up into the end zone. Touchdown. Redskins. 26-7 now. From 2 yards out, Austin Nix picks up his first touchdown of the night. Jackson, bit of a bad snap. Ball on the ground. And Oneonta got it. They did. Oneonta will recover. It'll be Cameron Daly, the sophomore, picking it up. Oneonta going to start out with some great field position. The rumor has it they're going to be doing the get-up challenge tonight. They'll hand off again and met by the shortest guy on the field, Ty Farmer. Ty Farmer just brought the house. Two receivers to the top. There's a snap, and they will hand it off to Fluff, who breaks out to the far side, up to the 30, 35, 40. Still going. He's gone. 40, 30, 20, 10. He's heading on down the rim lap. Touchdown, Oneonta. Second down and 6. Ball on the ground, picked up by Oneonta. Eason Williams, the freshman, picking it up. Wasn't much of one, but he'll be brought down, and that's going to be it. Oneonta, 41-7, your final score. They win the Jamboree, and they start off on the season on a high note. Now joining me, junior Brody Devaney. And Brody, I know this is your first year playing football on the high school level. What's been the hardest part so far?
The hardest part is just getting to learn the plays and getting used to getting back in the groove of practice and games and that kind of thing.
I guess it felt pretty good being out there on Thursday night, and you only got really a half of a game of play, but like David, you made the most of it. 5 tackles in the game, and constantly in on several others. Talk about your performance and how you thought you did.
I felt I did all right, just being my first game back, but I feel I can improve way more and just have way better games coming this season. So.
In reference to being your first season and kind of getting a late start through the summer, how players like you got Luke Hodge, Bo Ragsdale, even David, on those guys, mainly Luke on offense, Bo on defense, how they helped you out and kind of help you maybe showed you the ropes a little bit? Oh,
they've helped me tremendously. I'm extremely blessed to be a part of this, and for them to help me the way they have and been leaders and show me the ropes and just help me along the way it's tremendous.
I know that having the last name Devaney is a lot of pressure, right? It's a lot of pressure.
A little
bit. Your cousin came through, mainly made a huge impact on the baseball program, and with Jackson, who's now up at Wallace, and then Connor's going to be a good one.
He will.
Connor is probably one of the funniest kids on the football team, and I don't think he even tries. That's the best part.
Exactly.
And then, of course, your sister Emma Jo. Growing up, was there ever competition between y'all?
Oh, it's a competition every day. Everything we do, it's a competition.
Except for Connor. Connor doesn't really.
Connor, he does his own thing.
Yeah, and that's what kind of cracked me up in talking with Jackson. Jackson would always tell me, Justin, we are complete opposites, me and Connor. He goes, I want to win at every single thing, whether it's a video game, checkers, cards, I want to win. He goes, Connor just doesn't care. Is that the same? I know Emma Jo plays sports. Growing up, was that pretty heated between you two?
It gets heated. It does, and it's helped me along the way, just being competitive and just striving to be better every day.
Who's a better ball player on the diamond, you or your sister? Now, your sister can hit a softball.
She can, but I believe I'm the better one.
Don't tell her I said this. I think you are the better one. She would probably kill me.
She probably will.
I think she will.
Don't tell her I said that either. She'll probably kill me.
No, I'm pretty sure she won't even listen to this. So, coming on this year, and it's been, I think you said 3 years since you've played.
Yes, sir.
Now, you came on late summer, if I'm not mistaken. Talk about that conversation that Phil gave to you to try to get you back on the football field.
Since my freshman, or since when he first got here this past year, he's always been trying to get me to play, and I was too scared to play just because I feel like I have a future in baseball, and just I realized this past summer that I feel like playing football and just being a part of something bigger than myself is going to help me grow along the way as a baseball player as well. And just the conversation we had was just very, very influential and just very, very positive, and I'm happy to be here.
As far as goals this year, what you got?
State.
Just like David.
Just like David, state, and just be one of the best teammates possible.
I guess being around the guys last year making it to semis and being so close kind of, I guess, motivated you to help out and to try to get to the next level, the next step, I guess.
Yes, sir.
Well, all right, Brody, I wish you the best of luck this year, man.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Now joining me is senior running back David Hall and linebacker as well. First team All-County last year,
Yep.
linebacker. David Hall. David, you played, I'd say, decent. 8 carries, 110 yards.
I did all right.
You did all right. And really in only a half of play. Talk about your performance Thursday night.
I honestly don't even think I did that good. The holes were just open because of our line.
That's a pretty good, decent line you got, too. So, so many players look up to you as one of the best out there on the field. And you may not view it that way, but I think a lot of the younger kids do. How does being in that position like that motivate you and inspire you?
It motivates me to, do things the right way, to show the younger kids that this is the way you do stuff and this is how you need to, work so they can get better for when they're older.
After the inter-squad game and then the Jamboree last Thursday, what is one thing that maybe the team as a whole needs to work on? Not to throw anybody under the bus, but as a whole.
We just need to work on, reading our keys and looking at the right things on defense, especially against Hayden. Because at the game Thursday, I was looking at the wrong guy the whole time, and that was just bad.
I asked Brody last week. I had him on for the pregame show, and he's had a chance to sit behind several big-time quarterbacks here at Oneonta. He sat behind Cope Howell. Zach DeMock was another good one. And, of course, Tavares last year, him and Tavares split some time first couple of games. And he told me about some of the things that he learned. You've had a chance to play several positions and stuff, but you've been around some big-time players that have came through this program, like Sincere Baker, even Jaden Warren last year, now off at Troy. What are some things that some of those guys may have taught you?
Like I said about the younger guys on our team, they taught me how to work. Me and Jaden used to go out and run routes and do ladders and stuff last year all the time, and he just taught me how to have a good work ethic.
Well, as far as season goals, what you got this year?
State. That's the only goal every year.
Plain and simple, ain't it?
Yep.
Plain and simple. Hayden, I know you've watched a little bit of the film. Any thoughts on Hayden for this week?
They're a good team. They look bigger than Priceville was up front, but I think we should be able to handle them.
Well, all right, David, I appreciate you coming on. Joining me now here on the Redskin Rewind is the head coach of the Oneonta Redskins, Phil Phillips. And Phil, a good win last Thursday night, 41-7 over the Bulldogs from Priceville. You guys really came out from the get-go offensively, and Brody Devaney, I felt like he had a good game. David Hall had a good game. The offensive line played well. That first drive, though, you couldn't have scripted it any better.
We did get off to a good start. We had the opportunity to sit there for half a quarter and watch, because they kind of grinded out the clock a little on us, and then our defense got a big stop. And we had scripted our plays for the last couple of days, so our kids were familiar with what we were going to do and should be able to get in and out of it pretty quick and able to move at a pace that we want to move. But the first drive was really efficient, and it's always good when you can start that way.
Brody, his first pass was incomplete, but after that, didn't look back. 4 straight completions. He only played at one half, at 4 or 5 for 87 yards, 2 touchdowns. He got going, and I mentioned this to you in the post game wrap up from Thursday night, was Andrew McAlpine, he's had to sit offensively for the last few years just because it wasn't because of his talent. It was because there were 2 6'4" guys in front of him that were pretty decent, one of them down at Troy. But Andrew really showed out Thursday night.
He did. Andrew, of course, is a guy that runs really good routes and has good hands, and his quickness and explosiveness is an asset of his that you've been able to notice for years. But you have to be able to stay in the game and not rotate out, and find a place of consistency and get in the groove of doing things. It was good, and we had a little jet sweep, speed sweep action to him scripted for the week, and he was able to look good on those a couple of times. But like you said, all of that, I thought on the perimeter wise, our kids blocked well, and that always helps when the offensive line gives your quarterback a little time. We didn't throw much vertically by design, but we didn't want to expose anything to having to sit in the pocket a whole lot Friday night, but I thought it looked really crisp.
Offensively, was there anything that you guys could work on? I know when you put up 41 points, a lot of people are just going to be happy and be like, all right, we played perfect. But I know as a coach, there's got to be some things here and there that you guys can improve on.
Well, of course, there always is. And one thing, the main thing we can improve on, and I know it's early, is expanding what we do. We're gonna do from a coaching standpoint what we feel like we have been able to demonstrate in practice that we can do. Obviously, that's a little more than what we've shown, but it needs to be a whole lot more for us to be what we want, the personality we want to have on offense. So, the thing, it's a work in progress. I can remember the years that we went to the finals there 3 years in a row. Even then, it's probably week 5, 6, or 7 before you just have everything in that you can call it, and you can run it, and you can execute it. So, but there'll be plenty to work on this week because we still have not got everything installed. So it's kind of a juggling act to try to get ready to play a team and to get some things in.
For most of the players, they only got one half of play, and for David, he took his time that you gave him and made the most of it for 8 carries, 110 yards, and a touchdown, an average of 13.8 per carry. I'm not that smart, but I feel like that's pretty good, and it was good to see him make some really good runs out there.
It was, and to find out at the first break that he was doing it blind out there, he couldn't see, he didn't have his contacts in.
Maybe he should do it the whole season.
Somebody had told me that. So at the first heat break, I walked up and I didn't say anything until I got in the huddle, and I said something really nice to him, and then I asked him to say who that was, and he said that's Coach Elrod, and so I knew he really had lost his glasses and couldn't see. But so I guess he was just out there dodging colors. Yeah. And but he did look very, very, very made some very nice cuts in the hole, and he's really explosive. So, and it's going to be one of the things we've got to do this year is we can't afford to rest David a whole lot defensively. So, and he's obviously going to be on the field more this year offensively than he was last year. But we've got to pick and choose our spots, and we can do that because we've got 2 or 3 options that can spell him here or there. But it was good to see him get off to a good start.
Go to the second half offense, and Brayden Moore played really well, 4-6 for 70 yards. I thought he played well. I thought Connor Faust had a couple of good catches, 2 catches for 27 yards. But I think most people, the thing they're going to remember was Fluff and his performance, 7 carries, 132 yards, 2 touchdowns. I go back to last year's Jamboree game, and it was Colin Moon that really stood out. This year it's Fluff. This time, though, Fluff as an 8th grader, what a great night and what great vision he has.
He does. It's just interesting to see him every day. The patience. He has a lot of patience. To me, he's kind of a combination of David and Colin running the ball. He has a lot of patience, and then he's very explosive once he sees it. But yeah, he's been working with us, and he's a guy who I knew could help us special teams wise, and 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 then we get the injury to Colin, and so now all of a sudden he's probably in the mix to getting some carries on Friday night, and we kind of want to ease him into everything, and that may not be. We're going to ease him as much as we can, but it was easy to see if you're paying attention in the second half and even there in the second quarter that he's a guy that can help us on Friday night. He's a really special young player, and we're excited to see him out there.
Offensively, was there anybody else that really stood out to you in the second half among those young ones?
Well, to be honest with you, they all stood out to me, and even watching it, because I harped on them all week about being able to get lined up and get plays off and get the correct play off, and not just look like a dysfunctional bunch out there, which they're going to be all excited for being out there, and they're going to be excited because their mama's up there yelling their name, and they want to turn around and make sure they get a glimpse of her, and so I told them, don't get caught up in the moment. Let's make sure we can get plays off and get something done, and I was really pleased with that. So to be honest with you, for the most part, I was really pleased with all of them.
Defensively, throughout the game, I felt like your linebackers played well. The front four played really well. We didn't get a chance Priceville didn't really test the secondary that much with them being a running team. But defensive line-wise and linebacker-wise, your guys really balled out all 4 quarters.
I thought they played well. We got adjusted to what they were doing. We kind of had an idea of what they were going to do, but until you see that kind of stuff firsthand and get used to the speed of it, you can't simulate that stuff at practice. But our safeties, we knew they were going to have to be involved in the run game, and I thought they really did a pretty good job overall in doing their job in that aspect. But it's interesting that we'll see. We saw a team that's very similar to wing T principles that we'll see this coming week when we see Hayden. So it was good that we got that look from them a week before we open up.
Before we talk about Hayden, I actually thought of this question earlier today. I know you spent some time as a head baseball coach. Is there anything like coaching-wise, principle-wise that you can take that you have learned in baseball that you teach these guys in football?
Well, in baseball, you have to have a short memory because everything goes so quick and you move from one game to the next so quick. There's so little time for preparation and this, that, and the other. So it's kind of tough on a high school kid, a football kid, especially one that's playing here for us. I'm a guy who harps about little things and details and paying attention to details. And but then again, in football, you have to. It's kind of a lot of the same principles because, if you're still thinking about one play or you're still trying to relive what happened 2 plays ago and not moving on until. As the play moves, as the game flows, then you're causing yourself some problems. So I would say that's probably something that's real similar. The thing that, honestly, one of the things that got me out of college baseball back into high school football was the preparation. Anybody that knows me or is around me knows that I love the Saturday morning to Thursday night part of what we do. I don't have hardly any fun at all on game day, and that sounds kind of funny. People hear me say that and they just scoff at it, but I really like practice and I really like the preparation. I really like looking at the film and coming up with some kind of plan and spending a few days getting it installed. And one of the things you got to do in baseball is you meet with them after the game and then you go and you get ready for the next game the next day or in 2 days. So that's something there where it's, to me, completely different.
How much, I know you spend a lot of nights not sleeping. Since Thursday, have you gotten much sleep?
I did. I got a lot of sleep Friday night into Saturday morning. I got to sleep about 3, and then I got up for about 7:15. So I slept in Saturday morning till 7:15, and actually fell asleep in the second half of the football game last night between Hawaii and Arizona, and slept all the way until 3:17 this morning. So
when you mentioned those times, I looked over and I could see David doing the math on how many hours that was, and it's not a lot of sleep still. So
yeah, I've been around David for a long time, and he's one thing I have come to know dearly is that David needs his sleep.
Yeah, I could see that.
He is a guy that can sleep in the drop. You can get up early and travel somewhere where he should have been asleep for the past 8 hours at least.
Yeah.
And then within 5 minutes of being on a bus where there's no air conditioner and no moving air, he's still asleep. So he's a guy that values that.
Well, looking toward this week with Hayden, it's the second year we've seen them. Last year, 35-21. You guys jump out 28-0 against them, all in the first two quarters, and then Hayden came back. But this year it's a little bit of a different Hayden team. A lot of new faces. Same head coach, Reg, still there. I think year 6. I've kind of lost track. I know he's probably lost track as well. But, a little bit of a new team there in Hayden, but same old offense, what they try to do. Let's talk about what, as far as a little bit of an idea of what you guys are going to try to accomplish against them.
Well, what we're going to – and when we scheduled Priceville when I first got the job, I did that after they got their new coach because I found out they were going to be running the wing tee, and I thought that'd be good to play the wing tee a week before we played Hayden. And then we find out about 10 seconds into the game up there last year that they weren't running the wing tee like they were supposed to be, but this year we got to see some of it. But looking at Hayden on film, it's a team that of course Coach Register does a good job, has always done a good job. He's a wing tee guy, and he can no matter what approach you take to stopping it, what look you give him. They're all those wing tee guys. They have counters, and they know where they're going to go if you're lining up like this, and they know if you're an even front and you're moving strong, where they're going to go like this, and if you're an odd front and all that kind of stuff. I see a lot of the same thing, very very sound on offense, an offense that will grind out and use the clock, and then they have the ability to when they put you to sleep a little bit to hit you over the top. And defensively, it looks to me real similar to what they were doing last year. They play an even front most of the time, and they get active in the run game with their secondary. So it's going to be just like it was last year, just like I thought it, and it wound up being last year, quite a challenge. As it is really any time that we've played Hayden, as long as far back as I can remember when I played, it was always tough playing a Hayden. It's a tough bunch of kids, and their coaches do a good job.
You're very well known as being an offensive coach, and JD's done such a great job on the defense, and I feel like there's a little bit more emphasis on the defense this week going up against Hayden because it's just a different type of offense. Do you ever try to give some advice and on how to stop this, or maybe we should do it this way against Hayden? Or do you just let JD just do his job? I
let JD do his job, but I just make sure as an older mentor, as I'm sure I am to him, that I make sure I know how over the last 35 years how I've seen the wing tee stopped, and how we've been successful in doing it. Now, the only thing we talk each Saturday morning early, and we want to make sure we have more than one look and more than one capability of a plan B, so to speak, to go to when if things aren't going the way we're supposed to be doing. And and it's weird. Any of these first couple of games early in the year, and even as it trickles into region play, you're still working on yourself so much. You tend to spend more time on opponents in the second half of the season than you do early on, and we got to find a way this week to stop the wing tee and to still get some of the things that, like I said earlier, that are installed on our checklist, not just offensively but defensively also. So we'll try to find time to work on things this week that may be helping us down the road as we try to get our kids in position to to get after Hayden.
One thing that's always stood out to me that you said a couple months ago, that if you were the defense coordinator you'd blitz every play.
Yes.
Is that still true?
I would.
So do you ever go over to JD and say, JD, let's blitz? And he probably says no.
Well, I probably say that honestly every play. He just, we have. He was the one who found these new headsets that we use, where you can basically mute out any coach you want to, and so I don't know that he's even listening, but. I know if you're blitzing every play and playing zero behind it, you know who you've got. You're not confused, and the quarterback's under a lot of pressure, and things are going to happen real quick. And one way or the other, the offense gets the ball back quicker that way, which is really what I'm looking for.
I love asking questions about other teams that don't even involve us, but Saturday night you had Miami, Florida. Did you catch any of that game?
I did. I caught most all of it.
The very end of it, were you yelling at the TV with the way that Florida's defensive backs were playing and the pass interference calls?
It's funny you said that, because I caught myself yelling at the TV just like I would yell at a 15-year-old kid, but a 15-year-old kid kind of has an innate excuse to do some of the things that we saw on TV Saturday night. So I think the better team won, but I know the team that probably deserved to lose more than the other team didn't lose. So I did catch myself yelling at it.
It was a very interesting game there at the end. All right, Coach, I appreciate you coming on. We'll catch up with you next week.
Thank you, Justin.